So Annalisa, when are you leaving for this trip?
I'm leaving on Monday.
So I think it's a perfect time to talk about what we're doing. For those of you who don't recognize her, this is Annalisa Vandenberg, and we biked across America together. So we're both type 1 diabetics, went across the entire Trans Am pretty much together. There's some other footage that we need to talk about, but what are we about to do in 3 weeks?
So we're gonna go to Alaska in 3 weeks, and we're gonna bike 1,000 miles there and take pictures of people that we meet along the way.
We'll be scrolling through like the middle or the side while we're talking about. So Annalisa took portraits of pretty much everyone she met. What, you had like over 100?
Yeah, we had like 100 and then narrowed it down.
And so that's now been like compiled into this magazine that originally was 4,000 miles of portraits, now is just miles of portraits.
Because we want to take this around the world.
Obviously. So the next leap is Alaska. Whoa! We got it. We'll transition here. Let's continue.
Okay.
How did we actually go out on America in the first place?
Yeah, a few months. I think it was like in February of last year. I hadn't seen Eric in a while, and we just had coffee at this place, and he was telling me that he just got laid off from his job and that he was like about to give up his lease on his apartment and just like rent a van and drive around the country and talk to as many diabetics as he could, which is what he ended up doing.
Never say never.
But I was just sitting there, and I had also recently been laid off, and I was just like, why can't I do something like that? So we eventually did bike across the country like 3 months later. So that's how that happened.
And now we're back at it. So we have a Kickstarter live right now. So we just left from the Kickstarter headquarters where we went live, but we have our campaign up until June. This is like some wicked wins. Until June 30th.
June 30th.
We're halfway to our goal of producing a magazine and then a film. I'll give you guys some all details, but like Annalisa's legitimately leaving for Seattle in like Monday. We'll see when this gets posted, but probably like the day after this gets posted. And I'll be in New York. And so the trip is happening regardless, but why we're having a Kickstarter is to actually produce the magazine, actually produce the film. So I'm hoping to capture our story of how we know each other, which is the type 1 world, and then how we meet these people, and actually have like this. How long have you been thinking about this magazine to like actually
actually make it is going to be great. I've been thinking about it since the trip. Yeah, I've been trying to get out to so many publishers, and at a certain point we're just like, let's just put it on Kickstarter.
So now we are reaching out to all of you, our fans. We have 63 people who have backed this project. Thank you so much.
We're over the halfway mark,
which is exciting, and we're hoping to finalize some like corporate sponsors soon. So Revo, this is another shout out on the video. Thank you so much. And so check that out. That's milesofportraits.com/Kickstarter. And now I'll take you guys to like a coffee shop or somewhere a little less windy where I can show you our route, the actual magazine that she's already like printed to show people. And yeah, so sweet. This is so much more pleasant. I'm here at Odd Fox Coffee Shop, which is super nice, has a outdoor patio, and I just want to show you guys the actual portrait project and the magazine that we will be producing. So this is what we used on the Kickstarter Live. If any of you tuned into that, is these are just some of the portraits that Annalisa actually took while biking across the US. All the people that we met when they approached us and asked us about our story, and then she kind of flipped the camera around on them. So this is one we're talking about 100 portraits being taken, exactly what she really captured. And I think even going back a frame here is I'll share one of these stories. So this is Ashton and Justin Mann. So they were a brother and sister who biked across America, and they're actually type 1 diabetics. So we met them in the middle of nowhere. I was actually leaving a hotel with like 6 Cinnabons in my handlebar bag, because that's just what you do when you're biking around. And I offered one to Justin, and I was like, would you like this? And he's like, I would love it. And it's kind of funny because I'm actually a type 1 diabetic. And it was like saying the buzzword. And it's just these stories that capture what America feels like. So Annalisa and I are both from the New Jersey, New York area. and so we had never been biking across the US, and so it's these stories that help capture what America looks like, and it's this exact project which turns into this magazine of what Alaska will look like. So we partner up, people's stories, which you'll see on the Kickstarter video, with descriptions of what they say and where they're located, and that's exactly what we are bringing now to Alaska and hopefully the world. So let me show you guys our actual route. Alright, so when I was recording the actual original route plan, someone turned on the weed whacker, so let's hop over here. Alrighty, I'm just gonna float my head right in there. We're gonna start with a map of just where Alaska is located in the world, which is cool because before I point that out, it's like I've actually been to New Zealand and now we are going to Alaska, which is what some people refer to as the remaining frontier here in America. It is part of the continental US, and some other fun facts I have learned is that Alaska is actually twice the size of Texas, yet ranks 48th in terms of population, meaning it's an extremely rural state. Denali Mountain is actually the highest point in the US, and what's cool is that 18 of the 20 highest points overall for the US are actually located in Alaska. Some other fun facts. Kodiak Island, which I'll mention, is the second largest island in the US, right behind Hawaii. And I think with that, also kind of what Alaska is known for in terms of its economy is tourism, petroleum, and then obviously the fishing industry are the huge factors. So with that, let's dive down to the actual route map. Alright, with that message out of the way, let's dive into it. So, Annalisa designed the 1,000-mile biking route as 2 giant loops. So, she's in Seattle right now, and we're gonna meet in Anchorage on July 6th. From there, we are gonna bike north past Denali National Park, where there's a loop you can do, and hopefully we can do some biking, some camping, and just hanging out and enjoying those incredible views. And from there, we should end up in Fairbanks. Now, this is a biking trip that's actually going to include a trade ride from Fairbanks back down to Anchorage, where we'll be biking down to the port of Homer. And from there, we're taking a 9.5-hour ferry to Kodiak Island. Kodiak, which I was saying, is the second largest island in the US, also is home to the largest subspecies of brown bear, I believe, in the world. So I believe a male bear can weigh up to 1,500 pounds, which is crazy. So that's overall what our route looks like. A few challenges is talking about that now is 1, bears is a concern for everyone, but as 2 travelers with type 1 diabetes, Annalisa and I always have to have food on us. A big concern is that while we're sleeping in the tents, our blood sugars might go low. And so we're going to have to figure out this balance of how do we actually keep a small amount of sugar in the tents and then also protect our food as well. And it's also a remote location, so we're going to figure out where the hospitals are, but then hopefully we're not going anywhere too remote, so we should always have access to an emergency point, and we'll have a GPS beacon on us, which should be able to relieve that kind of stress that will go on the back of our mind. And from there, I think the route is actually pretty straightforward. I've heard issues with stuff like mosquitoes, and I think Annalisa and I are ready for this. I mean, I have clearly some itinerary planning to do, but if you guys are actually interested in the true details and seeing how this bike trip evolves, leave a comment below and ask me questions. But then I would love to show you, this is now 3 weeks out from the trip, and so we're about to hammer out the details of where we plan to be each and every day, the mileage we're doing, where we're staying, camping spots, stuff like that. And if that sort of trip planning stuff sounds interesting to you, let me know. Till then, I'll leave the link if you want to pledge to this project, but remember that you can go anywhere and do anything. See ya. Right. 1,000-mile route in Alaska, and Annalisa applied for it. Set a mission of no matter what, I will go on this trip, and that's how I came to this point. Hopefully that's not way too loud, and if it is, I'll have to re-record this.